I think there's a connection issue with your microphone.
Okay.
On now?
Can you hear me now, Nico?
Yes, we can.
In case I go
Oh,
in and out,
I thought you
Would I
meant
be
me,
able to
Nico.
call
It was Matt's microphone that wasn't working, right?
can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes. Yes.
Okay. If we run into a problem, am I able to call in and oversee the meeting through the phone?
Mr. Chair, you can. Yes. I'll provide that. It's both on the agenda and I can email it to you as well.
Okay, I have it right here.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
But so keep me updated. If I cannot be heard or if I have connectivity issues, please let me know and I'll call in. I've already announced the meeting date and title, introducing myself, introducing the other committee members, District 3, City Councilor George Russell, and at-large City Nico Vangeli, the City Clerk, AJ Pottle, Claire Robbins, Chief of Staff to the City Council. We're also joined tonight by Eric Batista, the Director of the Urban Innovation Department, Tim McGurthy, the Jay Fink, the new Department of Public Works Commissioner, may be joining us tonight. First item on the agenda, we're going to approve the minutes.
Counselor, did you call the roll there? I'm sorry. You did break up again. Oh, right. Counselor Toomey,
Yes.
Counselor Russell,
Yes.
and Chairperson Counselor Wally.
Yes. Great. Next, we'll go into the public participation section of the meeting. Do I have to read this verbatim?
Mr. Chairman, you're certainly not obligated to. If you'd like, I can just provide a brief summation that if any of the folks from the public do want to call into this meeting, they're certainly welcome to do so. The phone number to participate publicly is 415-655-0001, and the access code for this meeting is 179-401-4510. At this time, there are no attendees calling into this meeting at this time, but I can certainly flag you down, Mr. Chairperson, if someone does call in at any point.
Great. Thank you, AJ. Next, we'll move into the miscellaneous items. And we have item 3A, and I'm going to read that item. Order of Councilor George Russell, Councilor Morris Bergman, Councilor Donna Colorio, Councilor Christian King, Councilor Candy Merrill Carlson, Councilor Sarai Rivera, Councilor Sean Rose, Councilor Gary Rosen, Councilor Kathleen Toomey, Councilor Matthew Wally, and Mayor Joseph Petty. Request City Manager consider creating an online tool in the smartphone app that has a simple search box instructing residents what to do with specific items they want to get rid of. Info will be provided to support litter with a simple snap picture and report location for litter or trash on private property or public areas. It doesn't appear as though our DPW commissioner is online. Ms. Kazaropoulos, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Although this order went to the DPW, went to the manager, and looking at eventually getting a response from the DPW, I don't know if you or your department had a chance to look at this order.
We did, and I'd like to speak with the new commissioner to get his input on that as well. And so I plan on speaking with him on coming up with a solution.
Okay, so it sounds like we don't have the necessary information. So two things. What I'm eventually going to do is we can hold this for the next meeting, and we will be having a meeting in January. But what I would like to do is offer the opportunity for Councilor Russell and certainly Councilor Toomey, but Councilor Russell, because it was your order, do you want to speak to this in any depth at this time?
Well, I mean, I don't have anything more than really what I said at the council meeting and what I said publicly at when I came up with the proposal. It's, nothing really unique. It's I kind of stole the idea from the city of Cambridge. It has a similar item on their website. There are various different cities and towns, and even the state that has a link about the recycling. That's where I got the main idea of it. I thought it would be great to put it in an app. But in Worcester, we have a problem about folks abandoning trash or having properties that are not well kept. And I thought that it would be great if we had a separate app that was available to residents that not only told people what was recyclable and what was not recyclable, and when their trash day was and that kind of thing, but also an app that asked them if they would allow the location to be shown to us in city government, so they could just simply take a picture. So if somebody has left some abandoned furniture, they could take a picture on the app and just have it would automatically be generated. If they saw a yard that was overgrown or somebody that didn't shovel a sidewalk or whatever it may be, some kind of a complaint, there's something that doesn't, especially things for untidiness, if you will, they could just snap a picture and it would show up. And that was my idea or my concept. But I thought Eric, I think, has more to offer than I do. He's been looking into it, and I think I trust he's got some things to talk about. So all I came up with was the concept. I left it up to them to take it from there.
Great. Well, good job, Councilor Russell. I think, looking at, because of so many people signing on, I think everyone agrees it's a good idea. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you very much. I do have a question. I know that the DPW currently has a Facebook page, and if you take a photo in Facebook, you can actually tag it with a location, and we might encourage people to do that in the meantime. It might be helpful to do that until we come up with a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Toomey. Mr. Batista, do you want to speak to the order in general?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Chair Wally, one of the things that the DPW has, which is what Councilor Russell pointed out, it's this thing called Recyclopedia. And where you type in the information, you can type in what items. We have that currently in the website. However, it's not really displayed in a more interactive way for residents. It's under the recycling webpage, but we need to do a better job in showing and displaying that to the public. It's called Recyclopedia, and it's right on the way we list it in our website. It's called Recycle Smart, and it's under the zero sort recycling, and it's called Recycle Smart. And what it does is you type in, it asks you a basic question. Can I recycle it? And it's a question mark, and you type in whatever you want to type, whether it's a bottle, whether it's a paper, etc., and it tells you whether it's a recyclable item or not, etc. So we need to do a better job in communicating that to the public and putting it in a more interactive displayed on the website as well. With regards to taking a picture and submitting it to the city, etc., right now the current platform that we use for the call center, they use a work order system that they issue you a ticket number. It's an in-home grown, built specifically by Eileen's team over in IT. What Councilor Russell is alluding to is an app-based, cloud-based system that allows for people to use either in an app or, like Councilor Toomey said, using Facebook, Twitter, etc., other channels to be able to submit a picture, submit a complaint, and it gets processed within the system. This is something that Eileen, myself, and others have been looking into. What they call is a CRM platform. We've been looking at a comprehensive CRM platform for the city that is cloud-based, that has an opportunity to have an app where people can download it and take a picture and submit their complaints and requests and whatnot. Right now, people can still submit requests online. You can do so through the website, either through an email or actual submitting it on the website. But an application becomes a much easier and interactable application. So we've been looking into that. We have a team with Eileen that we've been meeting with different vendors, just exploring the ideas. And so when Councilor Russell brought up this item, it just fell in line to what we were already thinking and trying to think ahead of what's to come for the city. So I don't know if Eileen wants to touch on that specific area, but it's called a CRM platform, which is a customer response management system, and that's what we're looking at right now.
Ms. Kazaropoulos, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so we're looking at it's a customer relationship management application that will take the place of the current one that one of our developers developed over 10, 12 years ago. So we're looking for a more modern system that would have more capabilities and integrate with other applications. And so we're demoing some products now, and so that would give us more functionality to modernize and, like I said, integrate with other applications. Maybe there's some modules in there that are similar to what Councilor Russell is looking at, but we're just in the phase now of just demonstrating different products that are up there.
Great, I appreciate that. What I'm inclined to do is I'm inclined to hold this item, and we can revisit it either at the next meeting when DPW Commissioner Fink and Ms. Kazaropoulos have time to maybe discuss and come back with a more substantial response, or if it requires maybe revisiting it a little bit longer down the line when we'll have more tangible information. We can do so. Yes, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Chairman, I just, first of all, I trust the administration, and especially Eileen and her team and technical services. They do wonderful work over there, and I trust that they know a lot more about this stuff than I could ever dream about knowing. But I just want to be clear. What I'm requesting is something that makes it as easy as pie for folks to put on their smartphones. Everybody's got a smartphone. I'm not looking to get the public involved with our customer service complaint database. I'm not looking to send them to Facebook or to Twitter or to here or there or tell them to try and find it on our city website on page 58 of the city website. I want to make it as easy as pie for everyone in the world, that almost everyone that has one of sometimes more of these smartphones in their pocket, to just put an app on, because everybody that I talk to wants a cleaner city. We just need an easier way to get that message out, and to enlist the residents of the city in the effort of putting things on record. Because if the city gets the complaints and then we're not acting on it, well, then that becomes another conversation. But I think we need to make it easier for folks to report these things, and we make it easier for folks to know what can go in a yellow bag and what can go in a recycling bin. And the fact, even simple stuff like they can put out extra recycling bins, that they don't have to overload that one silly little bin. So, I'm just trying to make it as easy as pie for them to do that. And I just want to be clear on that, because I know they're doing a lot of good work over there, especially with the customer service database. But I don't want to. My request, if the council and the administration wants to go along with it, is just to try and focus on complaints and on what people are supposed to do with things when they want to get rid of them. In fact, the one in Cambridge, the link that they have is get rid of it now, or whatever. Claire helped me find the one. Claire, I'll give her credit. She when I asked her, because it's my feeling is that we're not the only ones in the world that have recycling. We're not the only ones that have a problem with litter or with yards that are not kept. So I asked her to do a little research to look to see what other folks are doing it. And that's what where she brought to my attention the Cambridge site, and that's where it went from there. So, but again, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your effort in putting this on the agenda, and I look forward to holding it and having further discussion down the line.
Great, fantastic. Councilor Russell, I think your point is well taken, and I agree with that point. So hopefully at the next meeting, the Department of Urban Innovation, the DPW, and the Technology Department can have a response with a more tangible timeline, if possible, of how we can implement such an easy system. Therefore, I make an order to hold item 3A.
We have Councillor Russell,
Yes.
Councillor Toomey,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councillor Wally.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to read the next item on the agenda, 4A, which is communications of the city manager, transmitting informational communication regarding the replacement of the city's enterprise resource planning, also known as ERP system project. And I believe this would go to Mr. McGurthy. Is that correct? Or is this just transmitting information?
Through the chair, it would go to Ms. Kazropel first. The memos come from her.
Ms. Kazaropoulos, could you speak to the item?
Yes, so the city is in the process of looking for a replacement for the current integrated financial system, which is an ERP that's all of the financial applications, payroll, benefits, auditing, purchasing. So the current system is it's over 25 years old. It's a homegrown in-house system. It lacks modern technology and integration. And there's a team of us reviewing proposals on the bids that were submitted, and we're scoring the proposals now. And then the top vendors will be providing scripted demonstrations to go over the functionality of their products. And then a decision will be made hopefully by the end of January for a replacement. And that would be a multi-year project.
Thank you. Now, when you say multi-year project, do you mean it would be implemented? It would take years to be implemented?
Depending on what product and vendor is selected, it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 years. It's a significant project. It's replacing the current system. There's a lot of the implementation. There's testing, parallel testing, and there's all the applicable departments will be involved with implementing the project and testing. So it could be anywhere from 2 to 3 years. We ballpark.
And certainly well worth it. I think Councilor Toomey had her hand up. Councilor Toomey, do you have a question?
Thank you very much. Yes. Just out of curiosity, do we have any ballpark in terms of time it takes to integrate the data, and how difficult is it to upload the data? I mean, obviously, the report talks about how a lot of the stuff we have is on Excel spreadsheets, et cetera. I would imagine that the data's got to come from somewhere and somewhere similar, and then it gets put into the system and automated to disperse to the appropriate tools. So do we know how long it would take let's say, for each department?
It's depending what solution is selected.
Okay.
Different, say, the chart of accounts needs to be set up first before we can move on to any other modules. But once that happens, that depending on the solution, that can be simultaneous. Auditing and payroll could go at the same time, or taxes, and so it just depends on the solution. But part of that would be the existing data in the current system would be converted over to the new system.
So I'm thinking about how I have utilized different systems and programs with other jobs that I work for. If I had a document as an employee that needed to get into my file, there would be a way to integrate that and upload it. I'm assuming you would have document imaging tools as well.
Yeah, so this would be a true modern system. It would have an employee portal where employees could, select benefits options, change their address, sign up for things where right now everything is a manual process, a lot of paper. It's very paper intensive. So a new system, a new modern ERP system would have, you know, all automation and much less paper to do that. And it would be, you know, you could upload documents to it, but everything pretty much would be automated and reduce paper significantly.
So talking about that and talking about, you know, as we're utilizing technology, which is, you know, pretty advanced, but we're having technical issues with sound, and sometimes there might be technical issues with connections and stuff like that. I'm wondering what fail-safes are built in if the technology goes down, the grid goes down, or whatever, to be able to maintain the documents and the information. Is there, you know, is there a different type of backup system that could run offline? You know, just that's just something I'm concerned about, because it's my fear is that if we lose electronic databases and electronic power and everything else, or we get hacked, you know, we need to have a backup system so that we can access information. So I guess my question is there something that you know of that is out there that these organizations and companies use?
Ms. Kazaropoulos?
The solution would be a SaaS-based solution, which would be in the cloud, hosted by the vendor, and there would be redundancy, and we would also have access to the data that's in the cloud. So there would be okay. Two separate sites where we would have access to, if there was one site was down, we would have access to a totally separate site. And one of the requirements is that it must be in the United States.
Okay. I'm just thinking about, and forgive me for pushing this, but you know, there may come a time when the entire system gets hacked in the United States. I mean, we've had Google go down, we've had Facebook go down, Twitter's gone down, all those things. So that's what I'm just talking about. So I understand the SaaS space and the redundancy and all of that, but you know, as much as I hate using paper, what is the backup system if we can't use any technology?
It would just depend on what solution is selected. We would work with the vendor with the contract to discuss redundancy, access to the data, any, you know, there's, you know, there's no 100% guarantee that there would be an issue, but we would require having a redundant system. But there, again, there's no guarantees that there could be an issue, and you know, if you know the connection was down or it was hacked, that you know we would be in an unfortunate situation. Then we would have to go to manual processing.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Russell.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Eileen or to Tim, whoever would have the answer, is this already budgeted? We had some funding in the budget this year that was supposed to be involved with this. I thought, is this already in the budget, or is this something we're going to have to find additional money for?
Through the chair, there are some funds that have been budgeted for this. The Berry Dunn contract, which Berry Dunn is the consultant who's assisting us with the search process, they're funded and they're underway. To your point, Councilor, as part of the free cash, some of the dollars going to the city manager's contingency were put there in order to assist with the securing of an ERP system. By and large, however, this is something that'll probably hit fully in FY22 and beyond. We'll start ramp up this, hopefully before the end of this fiscal year after we select a vendor, bring them on board, sign a contract. But the majority of the cost will be borne in the initial years of implementation. As Ms. Kazaropoulos said, the 1 or 2 years of on-site work with the team, and then it would become an annual subscription price that would be part of the contract, part of the tech services budget going forward.
So does this, through you, Mr. Chairman, does this, is this something that is going to have to go out to bid separately, or is this something that, you have is something you could just negotiate a transaction with, or how does it work?
Through the chair, it's actually gone out to bid. We went out to bid for 3 different elements. One is the broad-based ERP system. The second is for a tax module, so focused specifically on our taxation, whether property, personal property, motor vehicle excise tax. And then the third is the utilities, so water and sewer. It may be that the ERP module we select can capture all of this, but we figured those are 2 critical elements of the city's processes. We wanted to make sure, if nothing else, we had bids to review and assess within those categories. So we have received the bids at this point. Our goal was to have the bidding piece done by the end of the year. So we have 6 proposals for ERP, 3 proposals for tax, 10 proposals for utilities. There is a review group set up right now, including representatives from A&F, from Technical Services, from the Auditor's Department, from the Worcester Public Schools, and some of the departments that are involved in various elements of the kind of financial transaction process. HR is part of it, but we're all working together now to review the various bid proposals, and ultimately the goal is to make a selection probably by March or April at the latest.
Okay, thank you.
Great. What I'd like to do at this time is make a motion, I believe, to file 4A. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilor Russell,
Yes.
Councilor Toomey,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Wally.
Yes. Thank you. Next, I'd like to take 4B, transmitting informational communication relative to a financial system replacement. And there's a communication on this similar. So, Ms. Kazaropoulos, I know the memo came from you. Is there anything else to add from what we previously discussed for this specific communication?
No, as Tim mentioned, we're in the process now of reviewing the bids, and then we will move on to the demos and get input from all the applicable departments, and then make a selection. And it could be one inclusive system, or it could be an ERP, separate tax system, separate utility billing. The bids were done separated so we could leverage, have an opportunity to bid it out and get the best products for the city instead of having one inclusive bid. Then that would limit the playing field. There's only a limited number of vendors that have all of those capabilities. We wanted to separate those in the best interest of the city and selecting the best products.
Great. Thank you very much. What I'd like to do, if there are no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to file 4B. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilor Russell,
Yes.
Councilor Toomey,
Yes.
and Chairperson Councilor Wally.
Yes. Next and last item on the agenda is a communication of the city clerk, 5A, transmitting an informational communication relative to integrating new technologies associated with the city's agenda management system. Mr. Vangelli, would you mind to speak on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we're going to do this, I think, in 3 presentations. We're going to start with Ms. Robbins. She will start presenting the portal on the city council aspect of the portal. Then Mr. Potto is going to present on the city council agenda and some of the functions. And then I'll wrap the presentation with, the functions itself, as well as the board of commissions and the actual iPad application that I'd like to demonstrate to you this evening. So if we can start with Ms. Robbins. Mr. Potter, can you start sharing the screen?
All right, thank you. So I will wait for my screen to share. One moment.
Or did that go through? No.
It doesn't look like it has yet.
Let's try it now.
Okay. All right, one moment here. Okay, it doesn't look like it's gone through yet.
Okay. Let's see here. Do you have in your top hand part of the program, would it say share next to WebEx events?
Yes, and my screen is not an option.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Mr.
Sorry.
Potter, AJ, if we can just, maybe you can share and then maybe Claire can kind of demonstrate and you can go through the functions.
Sure, that's absolutely fine.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. So you can see here, this is the City of Worcester portal, agenda portal. So the clerk and the deputy city clerk will speak a little bit more to that. So if you could scroll down a bit. You'll see first here we have Meet the City Council. So if you click through on that, I will walk you through this page for a little bit. Okay, so upon this entering the screen here, you can see there's a little bit of bio info about the City Council, what the City Council is, the role within the city, along with office hours, contact information, city charter, some good resources for residents to access there. If you want to scroll down a bit. Great. So here you have biographical info, bios from every city councilor, along with the mayor, kind of describing everybody's bio, whether they're a district councilor or a councilor at large, along with contact information in every committee that they're a part of. So this just gives an overview of everybody that's a part of the council. And then if you wanted to scroll up, and we're all set with that. So I also wanted to just quickly highlight a couple different things. So I know there's been some conversation and some feedback about the potential of having a social media page. If that conversation continues, there is an option to connect social media to this as well, along with the city website. So if you could just click through the hyperlink there at Worcester City Council. Great. So here we have the City Council homepage on the city's website. So it does link through there, so that way folks have access to the webpage as well. Two features I wanted to highlight on the webpage while I have the moment is Who's My City Councilor? So this feature here will be using, right now it's just a map of the council districts, but in the future, we are working on a GIS application so that you're able to type in your address and you'll actually be able to see who your city councilor is and where you are on a district map with the information of how to reach your city councilor. So that way, we get a lot of calls at the office asking who folks' city councilors are. And that's a good way just to direct folks to see on a map clearly who their councilor is and their contact information, along with the contact us feature there as well. If you could click through there on that side. Great. So here's just a feature for folks to reach out to their counselor. They could, if you use the drop-down menu, you can select the counselor that you're looking to connect with, along with your contact information. And this would go to the council email for staff then to file through and just forward along to counselors. So just another way for people to interact with their counselor and reach out to them. It's something that folks are, continuously reaching out to the office, trying to get a hold of their counselor or figuring out how to. So just another way to direct people to have communication that way. So those are kind of the city council features that I wanted to highlight. And I believe the clerk and deputy city clerk will.
Can I interrupt just, Mr. Chairman? What is this? Is this on the website or is it a separate entity? Where is it?
Yes,
Is
so through the chair.
Is it just part of the website, the city website?
That's correct. So I was just highlighting, if you click through the portal to the city website, this is a section of the city website. Exactly. So you can click through the portal to the city council page, just as another resource for folks to have on the portal.
So where would they find the portal, if you don't mind me asking?
Certainly. So they'll be able to find the portal both in your web browser and through the city's website as well.
And Mr. Chairman, if I can jump in to Councilor Russell's question, basically, once the portal is live, we're still in developing phases. We're hoping to have the portal live toward the end of January. We're going to actually, moving forward, the city's technical service team is going to redesign kind of how to get to the open meeting portal. Right now, you go under agendas and minutes. We're now going to be shifting to an open meeting portal. So when residents are looking for the city council agendas and looking for the boards and commissions meetings, and we'll go into more detail as AJ starts his presentation and I kind of conclude the presentation. But right now it's going to be one open meeting portal for all boards and commissions, city council. You'll be able to get the videos, the minutes, the agendas. So I know in the past we've had, different places on the website where you can get the boards and commission agendas and the city council agendas. Right now we're trying to streamline everything into one portal. And that's what we're kind of demonstrating to you. This is basically the kind of the homepage of the portal. So when folks are accessing, the city's website, we're going to try to navigate them through this one portal so they can find all the information just within this portal.
Very good. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Say, do you have a follow-up, Councilor Russell?
No, but Councilor Toomey's got her hand up, I can see.
Councilor Toomey. I think you might be on mute, Councilor Toomey.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't get to it because of the screen. So, question for you. While certainly, it's good for folks to know who their district councilor is, I think it's important too for them to understand that at-large councilors are also available for anyone throughout the city, in addition to the district councilors. That's just a point that I didn't see that connection of an at-large councilor on there. So.
If I may, through the chair to the councilor, the GIS application that we're in the talks about would actually list all elected officials, municipal elected officials on that application as well. So you'd be able to see everybody that represents you on that.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
And then I think, Mr. Pottle, do you have the email I just forwarded to open that link? So, Councilor, this is an example from one of the GIS functions of, I believe it's a county out in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So what you can do is click on an address, AJ, and it should bring you the elected officials. So, for example, if you click on an address, it gives you the governor.
Yep.
It gives you the attorney general. In our case, it's going to be the local representative. So that's our goal to kind of design a similar function. Because as Ms. Robbins communicated to you earlier, when folks are calling, they really don't know who is their, who's the elected representative, as well as the councils at large, the mayor, the district council, the school committee members, even our, the state delegation, well, the state reps and state senators. So we're hoping by them connecting through this, GIS function, it'll be a little easier to see where they kind of lie within the side of the city.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think at this time I'll take over. So I want to just kind of start off by thanking this entire committee for kind of giving the opportunity to present the new civic web platform that we've been building. It's something that it's been a pretty collaborative effort between technical services, the city clerk's office, and the city manager's office as well, because the city manager's office obviously creates their own agenda items as well. This platform is kind of designed to be both a public-facing portal and will be able to use by city councilors and the public alike. As Nico kind of stated earlier, he's going to be kind of going over the application that can be downloaded on your iPads, and you'll be able to use that application during city council meetings to kind of aid following along with items, taking notes, things of that nature. The three things that I want to go over today, firstly, kind of provide just some level of historical context of what the city clerk's office currently does and how it is exactly that we got there, the internal needs of our office and how those will help navigate the public or help the public navigate city council as a whole in the interest of ease for the user and general government transparency. And then thirdly, I want to go over how some other communities use this same civic web platform that Technical Services has been able to provide or purchase for us. If you have any questions while I'm going through, please feel free to stop me. Let's see. So I want to kind of just start off again. The city clerk's office prior to 1998 was creating our agendas largely typewriters and then eventually Word documents. And then city clerk at the time, David Rushford, along with the city manager's office and TS, worked to create something that we call the council calendar program. Similar to the ERP, it was a homegrown program that we still use today to create the city council agendas that you see each week. The program itself has worked really great for us for a number of years and ties seamlessly into another program, which is called Laserfiche. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with it, but essentially Laserfiche is the program that I use when I get various calls from city councilors asking, do you remember that order that I placed a few years ago on XYZ? It sort of basically collects the metadata from all the various city council meetings. And at that time, I'm able to make searches and find your previous items. So that's pretty much how we got to where we are. David Rushford worked, we got this new program, but it's been about 15 years or so since that program was put in place. And obviously, as you're all aware, 15 years in technology is a long time. So what we did was we worked with Technical Services in the city manager's office to kind of find a replacement for this program because actually we have been working with Janet Benoit in the Technical Services department. So I definitely want to give her a huge shout out, A, for helping us find this new program, but B, also for all the work she did on the previous program. And we kind of settled on this particular website. It's called, it's through iCompass. It's a diligent program that essentially will allow you to have your own portal as a city council. And it will also be one singular place where you're going to be able to go for all City of Worcester events. Or excuse me, not necessarily events, but all city council and board and commission meetings. Right now, the way that the website is designed, you have city council meetings, you have board and commission meetings, but you also have various events in the city. And we think that it is probably more appropriate to present all of the official government business in one location and then have that separate calendar more for events and things of that nature. So some of the functionality that this website is now going to start providing is the ability to do something called subscribe. So I believe a couple of years ago, I could be mistaken, it could have been Councilor Bergman, but I think maybe other councilors as well have asked for us to have the ability for members of the public to be able to subscribe to each meeting. So moving forward, any person from the public is going to be able to click the subscribe button, click any particular meetings that they want to be kept abreast of. And every time a meeting is published, you're now going to be able to get sort of a generated email, and you're going to be able to go look at that agenda right from that email. So that is one functionality that we particularly kind of listened to you folks on and understood that it was important to you. Other than that, you're also going to be able to do something called the attendance and voting. So although it's not necessarily something that is functional right now because there hasn't been any meetings that we've used this for, what you're going to be able to do is go to each meeting, click a particular city council, and be able to show the entire voting record of each councilor. This is kind of an effort to kind of show transparency and just allow people to be able to kind of understand all the votes you guys take and all the important votes you take and where your stances are in each of those. Beyond that, we're also going to work to do something for the live stream and video portion of the site. So I created here sort of a dummy version of an economic development committee agenda that we had previously. So the functionality of it is going to be, and this video obviously isn't live right now, but you're going to have the ability to view the agenda and view the video at each particular portion. And what you're also going to be able to get is something called timestamps, where we're going to be able to plug in, we're talking about this particular item 3.1, and you're going to be able to click on it, and then the video is going to appear in this general area right here, and you're going to be able to see exactly where that particular item was discussed, and then you're going to be able to move forward. Beyond that, you're also going to be able to run this split screen, again, to provide notes. So again, using the iPad, you're going to be able to take notes on each particular item and then kind of like backlog them in, and you're also going to be able to view each item. So you not only are you going to have the agenda itself here, but you're also going to have the backlog of each item so that you can quickly reference it, as opposed to flipping through your paper documents or other things like that. It's really just trying to make it a little easier for the user. So I guess the last thing that I wanted to touch on before I hand it over to Nico also, we wanted to show you an example, to just show you some of the other communities that are using this that are, pretty large as well. So Dallas County uses this program, iCompass, and what they have here is they have a basically clerk of court system. So once again, you're able to have a increased search functionality, because right now one of the shortcomings of Laserfiche is sort of the public-facing aspect of it. Although I have a lot of training using the program and being able to find your orders and things like that, the public should also be able to pretty readily access those sorts of documents. And what you're going to be able to do, and I'm just going to use this word search just because it's something that everyone's dealing with right now, you're able to use that word search and then see all the various things that come up. Let's see. Of course, right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. So anything that came before, then it's gone. But anything that came before that particular body in relation to COVID-19 would then appear in that location. Beyond that, you can also, once again, I want to show you the video. So this is an example of one of Dallas Clerk of Courts and their video, and then again their items, and then we're going to click, and it's going to go to a different portion of the video when they start discussing this item. And these are just some of the functionalities that are provided within the program. But again, I think a lot of the advances that we're going to be able to make with this are going to increase transparency, provide accuracy for a lot of your items, and then kind of just be able to, in general, make our lives in the clerk's office a little easier so that we can build these agendas that much faster and, again, with that much more accuracy as well. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them, but otherwise, I believe Nico would be up next, and he's going to talk a little bit more about some of the other aspects of this program.
Thank you. At this point, I'd just like to ask if Councilor Russell or Councilor Toomey have any questions. Great. Can you?
Councilor
Yes,
Russell,
Councilor Russell.
I had my hand up. I didn't know if you see me or not. My question is the reference was made many times about iPads.
Mm-hmm.
I know the councilors and other people in government have the iPads, but is this like iPad based for a resident or other people that would want to access it, or would they be able to access it from any platform besides an iPad?
Of course, that's a great question. So it is available on multiple platforms. So on an iPad, it specifically has an app that you're able to use so that you don't have to use the web-based system. And we'll be able to set up the entire council, and the public will be able to have their own access to it as well. But beyond that, you're also able to use a lot of the increased functionality on the web as well. So it's really just going to depend on the user, which their preference is, but there will be multiple options for them to be able to access it, whether it's iPad, web, or otherwise.
And are we far above, if we enact this, is this going to be something that they don't even have at the State House? Or do they have something similar at the State House?
So they do have their own functionality of it, but I believe this would definitely set Worcester apart in a lot of ways. I believe, as far as iCompass could tell us, we were the only place in Massachusetts that we're going to be working on something like this. And although I know Boston does have like the time stamping abilities, I think that this is going to provide a much more public facing and much more ease of user experience than pretty much any other municipality than we were able to find.
My last question is, how much does it cost, and is it already budgeted? Or is it something that you're going to be coming in looking for additional funds for?
Of course. So this funding originally was secured by the Technical Services Department. I'm not sure if Eileen has the exact number or not, but it's basically replacing the system that they built for us, Council Calendar program, because of the upgrades that this program provides and sort of the back end stuff that's no longer going to be functional on Council Calendar moving forward. But again, I'm not sure exactly what the number is, but it's in the technical services budget at this point right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you continue with the presentation?
Thank you. I think I'll hand it over to Nico now.
Thank you, AJ. Great presentation. So, Councilor Russ, going back to your point, right now, as we're demonstrating the screen, it's basically on a web browser. So the public will certainly be able to have the same functions as, having the iPad version of it, but you can have it over the web browser. And then also we will also have the PDF option, which folks can still click on it as we've usually done. But I think one great thing about this portal is, AJ, I don't know if you can still continue to share the screen, or
I did just try passing it over to you. I'm not sure if you have access.
Let me try it. I figured if you.
Okay. If not, I can certainly take it back over, though.
Yeah, do you mind? Because I don't think I have that function either.
Straight, yeah, sure thing. Do you want me to start at the top of the portal?
Sure. So, as I was stating earlier, the idea was to bring everything in one open meeting portal, have all the boards and commissions, also have, the city council. And not only that, but also, if there's a meeting that the residents are, interested in kind of following along, if you click on the meeting, the goal was to have the agenda, to have the minutes, as well as the video within that meeting. So, for example, on the agenda that AJ created for economic development, you can see there's tabs there. So the very first tab is the agenda. The second tab will be the minutes. Right now, we haven't built the minutes for this actual meeting because we're still in the test mode. But once the minutes are approved by the committee, they'll be available there, and then the video. Right? If you look at the city's website at this point, folks have to go to one section to find the agenda, another section to find the minutes, and then another section to find the videos. Right. Our idea was, as soon as the resident visits this open meeting portal, the goal is to have everything ready available for them for that particular meeting, rather than going shifting around and looking for different, functions within the website. So that's certainly something we kept in mind when we were looking for this kind of software. Also, the idea was to bring all the boards and commissions. So, AJ, if you can please go to the home, function now. If you scroll under meetings and minutes, or agendas and minutes, I apologize. So right now we've started to build all the different boards and commissions. So the goal is to have the boards and commissions, to have the committees in different groups, the Worcester Public Library, and the Worcester Public Schools. So right now we're meeting with the city administration, we're meeting with the school department, trying to get everyone on board to so we can duplicate the agenda style that we use in council. So it's the same all across the board. So it's very similar when it comes to publishing the boards and commissions, and very similar when it comes to publishing the Worcester School Committee agendas and different committees. So that's kind of what we're working toward. Ideally, we'd like to introduce the city council portion of it first. The city council agenda, the committees, the city manager agenda as well. And then, as we kind of roll that out, hopefully start including the different boards, because it does, rely on, we have to do a lot of training for the boards and commissions, as well as we also have to train the school committee. But so far, we've communicated with most of the boards and commissions, city administration, and the school department. And everybody seems to be very open to kind of exploring the software and allowing us to provide them the proper training. I think, AJ, I sent you an email. So, folks, if you want to view the kind of how the iPad app works? I think there's a video that, if you don't mind sharing, Andrew.
Not at all.
In the meantime, Nico, a question for you. When do you think this would go live? Or the presentation up to this point, when will that be live?
Thank you, Councilor. So I hope, we're speaking with the vendor, speaking with the city administration, because they also have one portion of the city manager agenda that they also, are working on and trying to build. We're open towards the end of January, early February. I think will be, I would say, Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm always over optimistic. The last week of January, can we expect the city council agenda published this way?
Through the chair, to the chair and to the members, it does seem very realistic that we're going to be able to do that. Right now, what we're doing is we're building out all the committee pending lists. And there are obviously a lot of items in traffic and parking and, other committees where there's, a large volume items that are constantly getting churned in and out. But we're hopeful to be able to get that done before the end of the year. And then from there, it's just going to be a matter of building and, getting used to the program. And we should be able to do that definitely by the end of January.
Thank you.
I think Councilor Toomey, Mr. Chair, I think Councilor Toomey has a question.
Councilor Toomey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Nico. So a couple of things. I know as a former member of the school committee, and it's something that I've mentioned before, when we get reports back, when we were getting reports back from the administration, they would refer to the original order number and the filer of the order. And we don't have that on our side. And I think that that's really something that's very helpful to integrate that. And so you might want to think about including that. I know I've brought that up before. And then the other thing is, I'm really excited to hear that our boards and commissions are going to be, on here and accessible and have video, because some of them make incredibly important decisions. And I was appalled to find out that there was no documentation in terms of what was said at one of the boards and commissions meetings on a controversial issue. So I'm grateful that this is going to be public and accessible. So this is a really great thing for the city of Worcester and the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councilor Toomey. And it wasn't until recently that the planning board started putting all of the documentation for their upcoming meetings online. They've received a lot of feedback, positive feedback about that, because of course, many of the items that come across the planning board are very large documentation that neighbors who are interested just never had a chance to read that online before. So thank you for your comments. Nico, continue with the presentation, please.
Thank you, Councilor. And just to the planning board aspect of the agenda, I think with this new software, it gives them an opportunity now to not only scan those documents, but actually tie them into certain items of the agenda. Because now everybody who's publishing, whether it's the board and commissions, the school committee, and the city council agenda, will have those capabilities to attach documents to certain items and kind of do follow-ups. So certainly this is, I think, going to be very easy for the boards and commissions to, kind of do the follow-up and attachments that I don't think they have the capability to do before with just a publishing document or just a Word document. So I think Adrian now is going to kind of try to play just how the agenda application on the iPad works. So residents can certainly download this. The councilors can download it. Anybody from the public. This is one avenue to access the agenda other than from the regular website and the regular web browser. And AJ, I don't know, the trick is try to get the sound to play.
Were you unable to hear the sound? Let me start it over. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
That application gives you the ability to download, review, annotate, and navigate through your agenda. This short demo contains everything you need to know to start using the app in minutes. To log into my instance of the Agenda Notes app, I will enter my site address, username, and password. This information will be provided to me by my site administrator. On the main page, you'll find past and upcoming agendas. If I look around the home screen, I can see that I have the ability to refresh the page and filter by date and meeting type. To download the agenda for October 21st, all you need to do is tap on the agenda. A circular downloading icon will pop up next to the agenda title. Once it's done, I tap again to open the document. Now that it's downloaded to my iPad, I can annotate and edit it from anywhere without requiring an internet connection. The opened agenda displays my organization's logo, cover details, full agenda, including all of its attachments. This split screen view makes it really easy to follow along with the agenda, while taking a deeper look into attachments when needed. The complete agenda is on the left-hand side, and when I tap on an attachment, it automatically loads to the right window. To annotate the document, I have 4 tools at my disposal, and they're located on the toolbar on the right-hand side of the screen. First is the pencil tool. By tapping on the color icon, I can change the color and thickness of the line and draw on the page. To move to another page, use your finger to scroll through the attachment. The second is a highlighter tool. Once this tool is selected, you can drag your finger over the text that you want highlighted. Third, I can make a digital sticky note. Select the tool, tap on the attachment, and type in your note. Lastly, there's an underline tool. Again, I select the tool and drag my finger over the area of text I would like to underline. There's one more option in that toolbar I can also use. I can search through an attachment by page number. Simply select the bottom icon and the page that you'd like to jump to. Other search features are located in the toolbar on the bottom left, in the agenda window. I can search by annotation. The app keeps a list of annotations that I've made. Select one, and the app will take me to that part of the agenda. I can search by keyword as well. In this agenda, I remember seeing a report by a staff member with the last name Rusonello. I enter in that search term and select whether I would like to search across the entire agenda or that specific attachment, and tap on the green magnifying glass. Tap on the result, and I will be taken to that section of the agenda. To return to the agenda view, I select the bottom right icon with the 4 lines. I can then scroll through to the next attachment I would like to review. To keep a hard copy record of an agenda, I can use the print button. I have a few options. I can print out the original PDF of the packet, I can print it with annotations, or I can print a list of the pages that I annotated with the notes and markup I made on the app. Once I'm done, I will tap back, where I'm taken to the Agenda Notes home screen. To delete an agenda, tap and swipe to the left and select Delete. To log out, simply tap the Logout button and confirm the action. This way, your meeting documents will stay secure should your iPad end up in the wrong hands. You've now seen everything you need to know to start using the Agenda Notes iPad application. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, AJ. So, councilors, that's kind of a quick overview of the agenda application within the iPad itself. AJ, if you can please bring us back to the home screen of the portal.
Maybe Councilor Russell?
Will you be able to use that at the same time while watching the video of the live feed of the meeting?
Councilor, great question. I think that application itself is once you open the application, it kind of locks you into that screen. Certainly, we can explore. You mean if we're still on WebEx moving forward?
Yeah, I would think it's a lot to do. No offense to you guys for the effort, because I know you put a lot of effort in it, but it's pretty much the same thing that's on the website now, unless you're able to see the meeting going on live on one side of the screen and also have access to the agenda items and the agenda itself and the backups as the meeting is going on in a little cube on the screen. Otherwise, it's pretty much what we have now. If you look, all they have to do is find the city council agenda with all the attachments and everything that's there. It comes up a little easier, but just a little constructive criticism on it. And I don't know. I mean,
Councilor, that's certainly something we can look at, but I think the video aspect of it doesn't get loaded until after the meeting. The only way that I think folks can possibly do the video as well as the agenda function is if they try to split the screen, so they have, one tab, the video, and then the agenda on another tab.
Nico, a follow-up question too. You might want to, I don't know if you've gotten already an opinion from the law department, but you might also want to ask them, folks start making notations and doing things on a city platform. Now, does that stop becoming a city information that people have the right to be able to see if they want? Does it become like public information?
Through the chairs of the council, certainly if it's on a city device like an iPad or an iPhone, any kind of communication that you're storing on that, certainly it's a public record.
Right, but if the public is highlighting things and putting sticky notes like the presentation said, then does that fall into now does it become part of the public record? That is something we have to think about, not only keeping available for folks to access, but, just that people might want to access it. They might want to see that, John Smith pulled up this document during the meeting and he had that to say about it. He wrote a note on it. He attached it to it. Does that become public information? Just thinking out loud. I mean, I'm not just thought. Don't expect an answer.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor Russell. Is that the end of the presentation?
Councilor, yes. I think the last part is, I think Claire mentioned briefly the social media aspect of it. I think it's going to be a lot easier, to communicate this on social media once an agenda is published, as well as now we have the option to, once we create the agenda, to notify certain groups. AJ was demonstrating earlier the option to sign up for, the Urban Tie Committee meeting, the Economic Development City Council. As soon as we publish that information, now that gets distributed to the residents.
Thank you. Just to comment on what I've seen tonight, I'm incredibly excited. I think it introduces a higher level of transparency to the public about what we're doing as a governing body, and I also think the ease of use for someone who wants to look up and see the agendas, including city councilors. I am interested in hearing more a little bit about the social media platforms it will be running as a Worcester City Council office, and I do have some concerns. But Claire, can you speak a little bit about what your plans are and what platforms on social media that you'll be creating to represent the City Council as a governing body?
Certainly. So through the chair, there have been discussions about a possible Facebook page and for the official office of the City Council. So any official communications from the City Council from the City Council office, along with official meetings, any events that City Councilors are attending in their official capacity through the city. So that could possibly be a Facebook page where we're able to publicize official duties of Worcester City Councilors, along with agendas from subcommittee meetings. Any notice of public meetings would also be able to be publicized on that platform.
Great. And I'll ask the other committee members. I think that's something we certainly want to do, but I do have concerns just because you never know who from the public, what they're going to post on a Facebook page. And we certainly don't want any disparaging remarks that cross the boundary of decency. So, Councilor Russell.
Mr. Chairman, it's not only that. I mean, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on folks that might have negative things to say about members of the public or even members of folks at City Hall. But that's not really the issue. In today's world, so many folks like to spread disinformation and like to just kind of make stuff up. And then they go out there and they put it on different platforms. And I, for one, am not in favor of this concept of having the City Council official Facebook page. Many of the members of the City Council have their own Facebook pages. The City of Worcester, city government, has its own Facebook page to get the message out. I think if we're doing things to get the message out, we should be walking across the hall and talking to the administration and coordinating with them to reuse or help utilize that platform, which is the City of Worcester official social media platforms. But you know, who amongst us or who amongst the staff is going to be in charge of reading things that people want to do on Facebook and putting it up there as information and guaranteeing that information is accurate. I know I don't want to be the person that does it, and I don't know if any of my colleagues want to do it, but and if anything goes on social media representing me as one of the 11 members of the city council, if I want to put things up on social media, I put things up on social media, and I stand behind it, and I communicate with folks, and I put it on my own name. I don't want someone else. And many of the issues that we talk about on the council level, many of them we get along. Some of, the majority of the votes are unanimous votes, but there are some votes that are not unanimous. And I wouldn't want an official Facebook page on behalf of the council that doesn't. I'd want, if anybody's saying anything on social media, I'd want to, on my behalf, I'd want to see it as it goes through. So I've got some serious concerns about it. But I think that it's a good concept to get the word out about the meetings. But I think we could do that by working with the administration to utilize that social media platforms and that presence that the city has under the general, City of Worcester sites. And we're going to be concerned about folks that want to spread disinformation and who's going to be the judge of what information is correct and what is not.
Thank you, Councilor Russell, and I agree with you. And I know Councilor Toomey has her hands up, but I just want to make some comments before I go to Councilor Toomey. I think, as we know on Facebook, if you have your own page, you can delete negative posts, you can delete something that might be seen obscene. But there is a gray area.
You can respond to it,
and I would hate to put someone in a position, let's say Ms. Robbins is the administrator of the account, to put her in a position, the one who has to judge objectively what should stay and what shouldn't. And, hypothetically, let's say there are certain counselors that get targeted more than other counselors. I think that would show a level of unfairness. And again, it's the public doing it, but if you have a City of Worcester public Facebook page and one certain counselor has a tremendous amount of negative messages about them on this page, I think you're almost creating a level of divisiveness amongst the council itself. So I share your concerns. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you very much. I understand everyone's concerns, and I get it. I can tell you that there's certainly been a lot of disinformation that I've seen on Twitter, that people just go out and put their own interpretation of things up, and all of a sudden people are just saying, well, it's fact because it's on Twitter. I get that. I'm not, in my mind, the Facebook page for the city council would be more of an information tool to give to people, as opposed to receiving comments. And you can actually approve or disapprove comments. And I would think it would be part of Claire's role to make to oversee, to administer the Facebook page, purely for informational things, such as events that we all go to, just posting that the council, council members were at an event, or this, information about a storm coming up, just like they do for the city, adding it to a city council page. Some people like going to the city council page. I have my own, as a matter of fact, I have a couple of Facebook accounts, and I post a lot of the stuff myself. No one does it for me. A lot of my colleagues have other people do it for them. I do it myself. And so, I also deal with comments, and I can tell you that as a public official, that we actually can't delete negative comments. You're not allowed to do that. So sometimes you just have to let the negative things go. But you can have oversight on whether you take comments on the Facebook page or not. So at any rate, I think I have an open mind. I understand people's concerns. And certainly, I don't think that any of the city councilors should be posting on it. I think it should be as an organization. And I think that it could be a helpful tool. I don't think it's a be all and the end all, but I do think it could be a helpful tool.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Toomey. What I'm going to do is
Mr. Chairman?
1 second, Councilor Russell. I'm going to
Sure.
issue a chairman's order. And the chairman's order is to have the clerk's office draft a social media policy and also procedures for if we were to develop a Facebook page. Because again, I think there are some questions. Councilor Toomey raises some good points that there can be some type of oversight. But I don't feel comfortable moving forward until I see a document that describes what the policy would be of a potential Facebook page and the procedures of how it's managed, how it's administrated, and who does that. So that's in the form of a chairman's order. Do we have to take a roll call at this point, or can I go to Councilor Russell for his comment?
Mr. Chair, you don't necessarily need one because it does go through the chair. If you'd like one, you're certainly welcome to take one. I think it seems like something everyone's in favor of, but it's your call.
Do the roll call, please.
Councilor Russell?
Yes.
Councilor Toomey?
Yes.
And Chairperson Councilor Wally?
Yes, thank you. And Councilor Russell, please.
Mr. Chairman, I think there's also a fine line to be drawn in the perception, and perception is very important. Perception of a social media platform that is on behalf of the city council lets out the perception that whatever is on this platform is the product of all 11 city councilors. And the other perception may be, and it's a very fine line, and I'm sure our staff would not be doing this, but it's a very fine line in the perception that some of that may be done to promote the reelection or further political ambition of some of the folks that are on the city council. And that is not and should not be a part of any activity that any city staff is doing, because they have to be completely away from politics, and I know they are. But the perception might be different than that. Now, the suggestion I made to the clerk, when first conversation was about this, and I'll say it again publicly, I don't think there's anything wrong with the city clerk having a social media platform. I don't think there's anything wrong with the city clerk having any kind of social media platform, any kind of website, any kind of whatever he thinks is a good way to get out the message and to get folks to be more involved in government. I trust his judgment. But once he does something, or any staff member does something on behalf of the council, now I feel as though, at least as one of those 11 councilors, that I've got some issues with, controlling the page and what it's about and what it is. And again, it's a fine line with politics. You shouldn't be involved with that. And so, I mean, maybe the page should be, that they're thinking about, should be the city clerk's social media. And if that's be it, then I wouldn't have any problem with anything. But having it represented as the city council, I do.
Thank you, Councilor Russell. Councilor Toomey.
Thank you. I'm just the city of Providence, the city of Framingham, the city of Boston, Lawrence City Council, all have Facebook pages, Newton, so perhaps what we could do, city of Wichita, Atlanta, so perhaps what we could do is maybe do a little bit of a investigation on how they handle this. so that we have something to work from instead of just trying to reinvent the wheel. And I think that Councilor Russell brings up some very good points. And certainly I would not be happy with the perception that people were utilizing the Facebook page for political gain or whatever. That's not appropriate at all. So if we could take a look at that and get some backup information and a little bit of research, that would be helpful.
Great.
Through you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you, Councilor Toomey. And I think as my chairman's ordered to look at policies and procedures, I think it's a smart idea to take Councilor Toomey's suggestion and to look at other cities and municipalities to see what they're doing and maybe incorporate those in some draft policies. Thank you. Any other comments about this this presentation or the meeting as a whole?
It was great.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my fellow committee members. Certainly like to thank our city clerk and our deputy city clerk, and certainly our chief of staff for the city council. And at this point, before we end the meeting, I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays and a happy new year. And hopefully 2021 we have better and brighter days ahead. Thank you. And now the roll call to end the meeting. I make a motion to close tonight's meeting.
Mr. Chairman, just briefly, the motion on this particular communication, did you want to just place it on file or did you want to keep it or whatever you prefer?
Let's place it on file. I think my chairman's order will kind of keep a segment of that order, but still alive.
Very good. So we can do that collectively with the motion to adjourn. Councilor Russell?
Yes.
Councilor Toomey?
Yes.
And Chairperson Councilor Wally?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas, Hanukkah.
Thank you. We'll see you all on
Merry
Tuesday.
Christmas.
You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.